Hey yo, what's up guys? It's your boy, Joshua Nahoso. Welcome to your weekly dose of juicy justice. Today's topic is violent versus non-violent crimes. We got a special guest this week. Who are you, special guest?
Hello, my name is Jonathan Pape, and I am an ex-loiterer.
Welcome, Pape. Maybe you can help us to understand the differences of violent and non-violent crimes. Since the invention of the wheel, people were locked up for armed robbery, murder, and rape. Nowadays, people with nonviolent crimes are being incarcerated unnecessarily long sentences for their wrongdoings. Pape, tell us about nonviolent crimes.
Nonviolent crimes are crimes that do not cause harm to another person physically. Some examples of nonviolent crimes include trespassing, drug use, petty thievery, bribery, tax evasion, and loitering.
Go ahead.
And just to be clear, you are in all these videos, so does that mean you've done all these nonviolent crimes?
Yeah, but loitering was the only thing I got caught for.
You menace to society. Anyway, back to the podcast. Our purpose is to present that nonviolent offenders need shorter prison sentences and rehabilitation for ways to resist doing the crime they committed, so they don't overcrowd prisons for a crime that can easily be prevented. Our first reason comes from PBS reporter Judy Woodruff's interview with the Chicago Police Superintendent Gary McCarthy and North Carolina District Attorney Benjamin David. According to McCarthy, 98% of offenders being able to leave prison after completing their terms, 66% are just ending up right back in prison.
Biggest victims of violent crime are also from the same high crime neighborhoods. And when you have a business model where 98% of the people we're putting in prison are getting out, and they're not getting out better, and 66% of them are back in that prison cell within 3 years charged with new offenses, what we're doing is not protecting the community in the way that we can.
Pape, your thoughts?
What McCarthy is saying depicts that we need to educate prisoners before we put them back into society. This can prevent a huge number of offenders from returning to prison, such as people like myself.
Right, so what's your solution to help the people who don't deserve long sentencing? Like, let's say, drug users convicted for the use of a drug.
Well, for the nonviolent criminals such as drug users, I believe we need to set up a program to rehabilitate them so they don't commit the same offense again. I think it could really help turn their lives back around.
But people that end up back in prison are the ones mostly performing nonviolent crimes, which brings up the negative effects of mass incarceration. I found a U.S. News article written by Mortimer Zuckerman where he tells that 90% of federal prisoners are nonviolent offenders, and federal prisons are now holding 40% more prisoners than they were originally designed for.
Yeah, nonviolent offenders like me are now being locked up so much that there is almost no space for violent criminals to get in jail. The overcrowding in those prisons can cause tensions in the penitentiary that can lead to more deaths, more fights, and more solitary confinement. Putting too many nonviolent criminals in prison for a long time can cause them to become violent or cause them to lose their life, making it dangerous. In prison, I met this guy, Luis Rivera, who had been convicted as a nonviolent criminal. He starred in a clip from ReasonTV.com about nonviolent crimes.
I was young. I went in at 27 years old. I was a pilot, was learning to fly, involved in aircraft sales, and unfortunately I took the wrong route and went the other way. I got involved in drugs and transporting drugs from Colombia to the United States.
Now that clip reminds me of an article from the Huffington Post by the former LAPD Chief Deputy Stephen Downing stating, "I have no problem with putting away a violent criminal for a long time. Rapists, murderers, bank robbers. Once upon a time, those were the only people we did lock up. Prison was a place for bad guys." End quote.
So he's saying that nonviolent criminals are not bad people necessarily?
Yeah. Prisoners are usually just regular Joes like yourself behind steel bars. In society, there's a set of standards for those who belong in prison, like having a mean face or strolling out every night with a switchblade in hand.
Right, even though they're considered criminals, it doesn't mean they have a life outside of crime, unlike myself.
Now, some people may say that all prisoners need to be locked up no matter what they have done, and should have stayed out of society. What do you think about this?
You know, they are people too. They have families, kids, wives, husbands, jobs, just like everyone else. Once they serve their sentence, they should be released if they are considered safe to society through rehabilitation programs.
So you're saying that some criminals most definitely should be locked up for a long time, but some, like the nonviolent offenders, just made a mistake that they probably won't commit again?
Yes, unless they are addicted to drugs because your body feels like it needs that drug. But through rehab and the proper courses, they can lose that addiction and care for the families once again.
There's this article from the Huffington Post by former Deputy Stephen Downing that says that this, Proposition 47, will change certain drug possession charges from felonies to misdemeanors, reducing the prison population and using the savings to fund mental health and drug treatment programs, K-12 schools, and crime victims, end quote. Do you think this will help the criminal population?
Yes, I think it will, because this proposition would be able to assist in lowering nonviolent and possibly violent crime rates. Providing programs for mental health or drug use could prove a better future for populations in prisons. You know, the types of people put in prison aren't necessarily bad people at a personal level. Through the right training, they can change their attitude and become better people.
Yeah, as, people of Earth, we need to push for short incarcerations and rehabilitation of those nonviolent offenders instead of long prison sentences. Well, that wraps up our Juicy Justice podcast. Who are you, special guest?
Jonathan Pape.
And I'm your boy, Josh O. And remember, stay juiced for more Juicy Justice, hitting you up on next Tuesday.